Hi there, everybody. My name is Ryan Korn. I'm a project manager in the Office of the Chief Information Officer here at SBA, and today I'm going to walk you through how to use OneDrive for Business. Now, we recently deployed OneDrive to everybody in the agency so that we can help you migrate your files to the cloud, make sure everything is backed up, secured, available in real time, as well as help you migrate over to Windows 10. Now, you'll notice I'm using a Windows 10 machine right now for this demo, so there are some features I'm going to show you that may not be available on Windows 7. Some are, but rest assured that once you get your Windows 10 machine, you'll be able to do the same things that I'm going to show you here. And like I said, many of them you'll be able to do on Windows 7 as well. So let's get started. OneDrive is, like I said, a cloud backup solution, but we also have installed the desktop sync client. What does that mean? It means it syncs all of your files from your desktop and your My Documents folder and your Downloads folder into the cloud. So that way you can access it wherever you are. So let's go down to the OneDrive icon here. This is mainly how you'll access OneDrive, and see it says mine is up to date. That means all of my files are synced. So I'm going to click here, and it's going to come up with this little pop-up, and then it's going to say, okay, yeah, my OneDrive is up to date. If you're having some sync issues, maybe a file name is too long, maybe there's an unsupported file type, it'll tell you what those issues are up here. And then it'll give you helpful tips, so you can add a file to OneDrive, here's how you open your folder, and then here are the most recent changes that have been made. So I renamed this file, I moved this file, etc. Okay, so right now I'm going to go to Open Folder, and this is going to bring me to my OneDrive Sync folder on my desktop. Now again, we've moved everything for you into your OneDrive Sync folder, because this is the only folder that is going to be syncing up to OneDrive. So that's why we moved all of your main folders, your desktop, documents, downloads, all kinds of other stuff, up into this OneDrive Sync folder. And if I look at the file path here, you can see it's C:/users, RL Korn, OneDrive US Small Business Administration. And yours will be the same, just replaced with your username, of course. So the other way to access OneDrive, if I don't want to access it through the little icon down here, is just like you usually do, through a regular File Explorer window. Let's try that again. Let's open a new window here. And here you'll see OneDrive along the side. Click it, and then I'm back to where I was before. Now you'll notice several different icons here. These icons tell you the status of whether your files are being backed up and synced. Okay, so let's start with this green check. Green check just means it's all good to go. You can see it says availability status, available on this device. So we are good to go there. Okay, this one with the arrows, that means it's currently syncing. So some file is currently syncing right now with the cloud. That's fine. That's normal. You're going to see that a lot whenever you open a file because it'll be syncing and backing up and being secured in real time. Okay. You'll also see this cloud sometimes. And what that cloud means is that either one, it's an empty folder, as you can see here with this pop-up, or two, it means it's only available in the cloud. So that means you can see it on your desktop, but unless you specifically download it to your desktop, it's only going to be accessible when you're online. So you might be asking yourself, how do we make sure that I can access my files all the time, either all of my files or just particular files if I'm not online? Well, it's very simple. Let's go into my desktop. And you'll notice these are the same documents here as are actually sitting on my desktop, and even you see the icons that have the green check on them. So this is the same folder. This is just what's telling my computer, hey, put these icons on the desktop here. So let's say I'm going to look at this OneDrive training test. So it's got that green check. That means it's available right now. But you're going to have 5 terabytes of space on your OneDrive. So maybe eventually you're going to run out. Maybe you want to not keep anything on your hard drive and just use it as a cloud device. Or maybe you want to make sure all the time everything is always available on your hard drive. So what you're going to do is you go ahead and right-click. And you have 2 options down here. This is called Files on Demand. And this is going to allow you to either always keep it on this device or free up some space. So let's say I don't want the OneDrive training test anymore. I want to free up space. It's taking up a lot of space on my computer. All 12 kilobytes, lots of space. So right-click, and it's syncing, and you can see it popped up there. And here we go, down to the cloud. Now let's say I want to have these always available on my computer. I changed my mind. I don't want it deleted. I don't want to only be able to access it from the cloud. I want to be able to access it on my computer. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to say, always keep on this device. And you can see now it's syncing again. And it's actually doing this whole folder too. And now you can see, now I have a white check inside a green box. That means that these files will always be available on my device. So let's say I want to share this file, and I can always unclick it, just bring it back to the way it was before. Okay, so you can do the whole folder. You can even do it for your entire OneDrive if you really want to do that, or down to just the individual file. So one of the other cool things about OneDrive is that it lets you share files and collaborate with others in real time. So what does that mean? Maybe you've used Google Docs. It's kind of like that. But this way, instead of sending emails back and forth to each other, which means you're just essentially creating a new copy of a file, or instead of having to check everything out on SharePoint, which means only one person can use it at a time, this way, using OneDrive, and eventually SharePoint, but using OneDrive, you can share files and then actually have everybody that you want working on the same file. So let me click this OneDrive Training test. And let me open it up here. Okay, this is the best file ever. All right. So I'm going to share this file, and I can share it right from my desktop. So I'm going to click this share, and not send to. We want to make sure we use the share. This little cloud means these are all the OneDrive actions. So I click share, and I can change the permissions. So who do I specifically want to allow? Well, we blocked out anyone because we don't want anybody just having access to all of our data. So I could share it with everybody at SBA if I want to. I don't know that that's a good idea either. People with existing access, so some people might already have access because they've shared some other file with me, or specific people. So mine is highlighted, specific people. We're going to go with specific people. And then do I want to allow them to edit it or not, or just have it be read-only? So let's say we'll allow them to edit it for this test. So I'm going to click Apply. And I'm going to type in my friend Ida here. Okay. And I'll say, hey, Ida, check out this great file. Okay. Now, I could send it through Outlook if I want to. I mean, it'll do it in the background, but I could open Outlook. I don't have to. Or I could just copy a link and send them the link. But easiest way, just click Send. Okay. And it says it's sent. And you'll actually be able to see in your email inbox sort of a receipt for having sent this file to another person. Now bear in mind that this is your file, this is your data, so you want to be very careful with who you're sharing this with, and I'll show you how to control your sharing settings in a moment. So let's say the file is open, and you want to be able to share in real time. There's going to be this share button up in the top right. Click Share. And again, it pops up the same way. Now, another cool thing is I can also see the version history here. So you notice that I created this file on August 1st. That was a few weeks ago. And I renamed it. I saved it. You can actually open all of these previous versions. So I don't have a whole lot exciting going on in this file, just a test file. But if you've been sharing, if you've been working with others on a document, so you see here, another colleague of mine, Scott Henry, saved the file at one point. If you've been working with others, you can actually see all of the changes that were made. I think I saw a file at one point that had something like 78 different versions on it, so this is quite a robust version history. So let me close that out here. And again, if you click See All Versions, there you go. So another cool feature is this autosave functionality. So this will be coming in Windows 10, but when you have a file saved to OneDrive, which all of us will because our desktop documents, downloads, all these key folders have been moved there, it will save your file automatically for you. So you don't constantly have to worry about Save As. You can see this little sync button on the Save, and you can save it manually if you want to, but the autosave is on. So it's just going to keep saving for you. Okay? Hello. So let's type in hello, and you can see the autosave. Save to my OneDrive, and let's take a look at the version history. Oh, and here we are, today, August 23rd. I shared the file with Ida earlier, and I saved the file as well. Okay, so let me close out this file. We'll check in on it later on. And it's syncing, and eventually it'll have a green check mark there. So this is how to use OneDrive on your desktop, right? Just normally the same way you currently access your files. Because again, we've moved desktop, documents, downloads, all of the usual places that you save your files into this OneDrive folder. Okay? Now, let's say you want to access your OneDrive files from the cloud directly. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, let's use my desktop again as an example. If I right-click desktop, I can go to View Online. So let's click View Online. It opens up Edge, and voila, here are my files online. Now, the easiest way to access these two, if you're not sure exactly where your files are, you can also access them from the employee portal. So for example, I go to SBA 123, and I click this blue waffle up here. Click. And then here's all my apps. Here's my OneDrive app, my Office 365 version of OneDrive. And again, all of my stuff is here. So let's go into my desktop. And here's my OneDrive training test. You can see, oh, look at, I modified this about a minute ago. You'll also notice that it says it's shared. So this will help me manage my sharing preferences so I know who has access to my data. Again, this is your data. These are your files. They are something that you are responsible for. You're inviting other people to come into your OneDrive and see and use those files. So you just want to make sure that you're sharing with the right people. So if I click this, again, I can see the version history and all the different changes. So this one happens to have 10 different versions. And again, another colleague of mine made one here. I can restore, open, and you can also even compare the two files once you've opened them as well. I don't want to do that. I like my current version. But the other thing that I can do, if I click here, is go to Details. And this will actually show me not just the recent activity, it'll give me a little preview, but it'll also show me who has access. So if I click Manage Access, so I have access, and then I shared it with Ida previously. And I can do some advanced stuff too, but we're not going to get into that in this particular video. But let's say, okay, I'm done. It's my file. I don't want anybody else editing it. I can click Stop Sharing, and boom, we're done. Or I can go to Grant Access, and I get the same pop-up sending somebody an email to access my file. So let's close out of there. So another really cool feature, if you're looking online, is you can see all of the files that you've shared in one spot. So that way you can manage access a lot more easily. So these are files that people have shared with me. So here's my friend Ariel. She shared the Quick Start Guide template with me. There's a whole bunch of things that folks have shared with me. I don't even know if they realize that they're sharing them all with me. So, let that be a lesson. Be careful. But here are the files that I've shared with others for a variety of reasons. So let's say here's my OneDrive training test again. Again, manage access, and I can stop sharing or add other people if I want to, because again, I want to be careful that these are my files and I'm sharing them with the right folks, not giving access to anybody who shouldn't have access to them. One of the things to check out here as well is the recycle bin. So, on your desktop, you have your normal recycle bin. Let's say I delete a file, it goes in the recycle bin. Well, the same thing is true in your OneDrive. So if for some reason you've lost a file, you can most likely find it here in your recycle bin, and then you can empty it as well if you need to do that as well. But again, you have 5 terabytes, so plenty of space for most people. Shouldn't really need to delete anything ever again if you don't want to. Okay. So there's one other important point to mention. There are some files that just will not sync. So for example, executable files, PST files, there are some others that we've blocked for technical reasons as well. So most of your files, 99% of your files should sync. We're going to make sure that your files are all migrated over to Windows 10, even if they're not in OneDrive. But just know that if you're getting an error, it would be because some files aren't syncing. There are some other restrictions too, like not using certain characters or making sure that the file path isn't more than, I think, 500 characters long. But basically, you should be able to sync all of your files. One other really cool feature, and this is only on Windows 10, but it'll make using your SharePoint sites a lot easier, is you can also sync your SharePoint sites to OneDrive so that you can access them in your File Explorer and your desktop. So let me go back to the employee portal here. And I'm going to go, this time I'm going to go to the OCIO SharePoint page. We have this OCIO staff-only folder here that has some internal document libraries. So we're going to go to a subsite that I use, OCIO operations. And now I'm going to click Sync. Okay, you don't need to do this for your files. This is just for SharePoint files. So I'm going to click Sync. Do I need to switch apps? Yes. So trying to open OneDrive? Yes. Okay, and it says you are now syncing OCIO operations documents. Let's click it. And here you can see I have not just my OneDrive U.S. Small Business Administration, but just plain U.S. Small Business Administration. So these are the files that we're sharing across the office. So OneDrive, my files, SharePoint, we're all sharing them. The office owns those files. And you can see, move this over a little bit. Yep, here we go, OCIO operations. They're sitting in the cloud because that's where they are. And then whatever permissions you have through SharePoint is the permissions that you'll have to access these files. So we've tried to make this a great user experience for everybody. It should be very simple to use, very straightforward, pretty much the same way that you're accessing your files right now, only they're going to be in this OneDrive folder. It'll tell you whether they're available online or whether they're available on your device. Again, you can make them available wherever you want to. And the benefit is that your files are always going to be backed up, always going to be secured, and easy to share with other people so you can collaborate and get your work done even faster and better. And I will tell you one other benefit. My old computer blue screened the other day, and I was able to get a new computer, open it up, my files synced right down, and in 15 minutes at most, I was back up and running again, and I didn't lose any data at all. So yet another benefit of OneDrive. So if you're having technical issues, please feel free to reach out to the help desk. Or if you have questions about how to use OneDrive, you're going to want to go to the OneDrive Yammer group. So if you go down back to the internet and the SBA portal, Yammer, Windows 10, Office 2016, and Office 365. And you can see some folks have already started commenting on OneDrive. So feel free to leave your question here as well, and we'll be able to respond to it, as well as your colleagues will be able to respond to them as well. So again, thanks for watching, and let us know if you have any questions.